Hello, people of YouTube. It's Deepak here, and welcome to the DCS news for the 5th of April 2025. I just realized that my camera is way lower than usual. I'm sure nobody needs to see this much man boob. Anyway, welcome to the stream, everybody. Hello, Tog. Hello, Orleans Junkie. Hello, Oz Dead Meat. Excitement intensifying. Very good. Tea Kettle Barbecue, Mangash, Irish Pat 64, Mark S, Pink Floyd, Oz Dead Meat. Does it say waiting on Deepak for anyone else? Well, it will do until you're not waiting for Deepak. Yeah, the show is 90 minutes earlier than last week. Our time. Glad I didn't miss it. Yes, of course, the vagaries of daylight savings. John Brown, Morzo, Isaid Pierre, Mark S wants more man boob. Yeah, it was weird. Actually, I must have knocked my monitor. I noticed that it was like basically looking straight down at my desk. It's not the usual angle. You can have a little bit of man boob. I'll give you just a wee bit. Anyway, let's bring in the one and only, as always, John Bluer. Hello, sir.
Speaking of man boob, how you doing?
You're not displaying the requisite amount of man boob, sir.
I am not indeed. I need to bring this. Yeah, bloody hell, it's really bright outside. That's have to close my windows.
We're
Look washed out.
Yeah, we're getting into that time of year now when there is actual sunshine.
It's been lovely here in sunny Devon.
Yes.
Very nice.
B. Denson's here with us as well. Stuart McLean. Early today, yes. Mr. Yeti, evening, gentlemen. Yeah, we're a little bit early today because I ran out of time to record my next tutorial in the Apache. I was actually at an electric cars expo here in Stockholm, which was a good old laugh. And I was later back than I expected, so ran out of time.
Dare you? How dare you have a life outside of DCS?
I'm terribly sorry. I then played a little bit of MSFS 2024, and I was mucking around with the frame generation, which we were discussing last week. And actually, I think it has improved in MSFS. I need to test in DCS as well. I'm sure in DCS, people were telling me it's improved markedly in DCS since the initial implementation, so I need to retest that. But actually, what I was finding is in MSFS 2024, I get like 200 frames a second with frame generation turned on, but I get so many micro stutters that it doesn't matter because it still runs like absolute crap. It's like 200 frames a second and then like a half second stutter and then 200 frames a second and another stutter, and it's just like, oh my god. If they could just make it not do that, that'd be fantastic.
I don't think I've watched a single MSFS stream and there's not been like, especially on takeoffs and landings when you're down lower, I've not seen like just micro stutters. Those little, like, I call it like friction. It's almost like the game has little bits of friction. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's obviously got a lot. There's a lot for it to do. I understand that, but it's definitely not as smooth as it could be. I don't think I've ever watched a completely smooth MSFS stream. Maybe it's because it's the streaming and the game. I don't know. Maybe it's fine if you're single player.
No. It's exactly like that when you're not filming as well. At least for me. I noticed that like if I hold the camera still, it's actually much better. The moment I start trying to pan the camera, it like stutters like hell. And yeah, anyway, I'm going to start trying to figure that out because there must be ways of tuning it to make it run properly.
Oh, God, yeah, it's got to be something, isn't it?
Darth Pirate 7, welcome to the stream. And yeah, Pink Floyd pointing out Stormbirds turned 9 yesterday. I saw that. They were talking about that on their website. We are going to come to Stormbirds a little bit later. But yeah, congratulations.
We had our own little bit of news, didn't we?
We did?
Which we were just discussing just before we got on stream. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Hi, Daddy Wags.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Apparently, Wags has watched us at least twice,
which is hilarious. To me.
Probably much to the detriment of his mental health. We're sorry.
Yeah, it's funny. We're literally joking around on stream. If anyone's seen it, if you go back to the last live stream, there's a comment by him. But we were joking around. We're like, "Oh yeah, do you reckon he actually watches this?" And we're like, "God, I hope not." It'd be so embarrassing if he did. And then he's actually commented on the last one. If you go to the YouTube comments, yes, I do watch. God damn it! Sorry, Dad.
Yes, I do watch, and then like no further comment is like.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yes. Although he did thank us for our support, and actually,
That was
I
true.
I thanked him for making a really good flight simulation game. I said in quotation marks. Uh,
Yeah. I think I said something on. I did comment on it like, "Sorry, at least I hope we're entertaining, if nothing else."
exactly. I think we're kind of taking the Top Gear approach. Like if we're not factual, at least we're fun.
Yeah. That's the way you got to be. You got to be that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Branislav, welcome to the stream. Mangash, there was a thing about the mouse polling rate that I believe Gurling Signward did a video about. Apparently, it can cause stutters. I saw like an article title about that in the MFSS. I can't say it. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to tell you. I saw that title and I can imagine that probably is it, because if I move the cursor around or if I pan the camera with the mouse, that's when it gets the worst. So maybe there's something we can do about that.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, all right. Tiketa Barbecue. If Wags is watching, then ask him where my Sipicat Jaguar is. But I don't think that one's on him. Cool. Anyway, let's jump into the news and have a little peek. I just realised that my screen's a little bit darker than usual because I turned on HDR, and that seems to darken streams for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, dear fighter pilots, partners, and friends, this week we're talking about the F5E remastered livery competition, which seems like there are some fancy things that you can win. We should actually talk to our very own Dot Chuckles about that. See, he did an F5 livery, which was super good back in the day. I'll maybe ask him if he'll do an updated one, although he's probably very busy.
Have you heard about the drama of this?
Oh, hit me with the drama. I didn't know there was a drama.
Very much is a drama. So, if you're creating libraries, one of the main pieces of software you use is the DCS model viewer.
Uh-huh.
And the F5 is locked from the model viewer. You cannot open it up. So, how the hell are you supposed to create a library if you can't get into the model viewer? It's extremely hard to do it. You basically have to change something on the library, boot DCS up, boot up the game, and then look at the library in the game.
Yeah.
So you can't like almost live check what your library looks like. So it's extreme, and it's the
It's going to be a
only
really
aircraft.
long round trip time doing that. That's going to be horrible.
Yeah. And so there's been this whole load of drama of people basically on the forums and all sorts who are regular. There's one guy I think who's like a regular. He's made something like 200 libraries. He's like, I'm refusing to participate. I'm making a point of refusing to participate because yeah, basically, you're making it really difficult to, and I think this is related to. So, are you also aware of the little bit of the controversy around the? They said that there was 7,000 hours, man hours, or something in the F5E.
Yeah.
And the someone apparently went into the model, probably through the model viewer, and realized that the cockpit model was it. They said that they completely redone it from scratch, and they hadn't. It was he was like there was definitely still remaining geometry from the old F5.
I did see that one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that. So someone was kind of picking it apart a little bit and said it doesn't look like it. Like the thing is, the external model. Like I've went over the external model fairly carefully, and I can say for sure that's completely reworked. And the texturing is reworked. But as for the cockpit, that I don't know, and I have seen people claim that it really isn't. It's certainly not a kind of brand new creation. Say some people.
Yeah. So obviously, I always see these things a little bit as like you have your usual all I'll say is like the people who are on Reddit often. That's all as far as I'll go. But you know, they like to moan. There's a lot of people who like to moan. I was literally joking in someone else's stream the other day that like the ED could be like, we saved an orphan today, and someone would be like, why haven't you fixed the F-16 radar? Even if they saved an orphan from a house fire or something, there'd be someone complaining about the AMRAAMs or the F-16 or something.
Yeah.
So sometimes they can't really do good. But yeah, so basically
most importantly though, F5E Sparrow when.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, where's the sparrow? But so the kind of controversy is that apparently because of that, I don't know. Its problem is people come to these conclusions. that the F5 was removed from the model viewer. I've also heard that they may have removed it from the model viewer because there was potentially things getting taken and put in other games or plagiarism or whatever of DCS models. But basically, yeah, it's what it is the model's encrypted, so you can't get into it. And
Hmm.
so yeah, for livery makers, it's extremely hard for them to make a livery. And so there's a bit of a hoo-ha from that. And I think considering what of all the modules they could pick to do a livery contest, and that's the only model, which is an absolute nightmare to create a livery for. I was like, this is a boo-boo that didn't have to happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, you would think that they would like fix that before. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Hmm.
get the horse before the cart in some way or another. And I just saw it and I went, oh god. And the worst thing was,
I've got to say that for me, this is almost certainly like going the Occam's razor
mm,
route. This is probably just someone forgot or fucked something up.
exactly. That's literally what I thought. I bet you someone slapped their head. He's probably like Big Nui or one of those guys went back to the team and was like, "Those people can play." He's probably like, "They're at the gates. They've got pitchforks and fires. What do I do, my lord?"
Yeah, yeah. Like
And there's,
Big
yeah,
New's just like unzipping his flame retardant suit as he comes out of the forums.
yeah. I don't know what I picture Ego Dynamics as like a medieval castle, and there's all these like people like outside with pitchforks and torches, and he's like, "My lord, they're at the gates. What do we do?" And there's like King Wags and like the sheriff of Nick Gray, and they're like, "Well, tell them to go." He's like, "But they won't go, my lord. We forgot to take the F5E out of the encryption. What do we do?" And they're just freaking out and stuff. But yeah, it's like you said, it's Occam's razor. It's probably as simple as someone just completely forgot, and they're like, "Ah, shit, yeah."
Yeah.
And it's not as simple as that. So yeah, we'll see. Tomorrow they could be like, "Oh yeah, we've unencrypted it now. You can make a model." You know what I mean? It's one of those things. So, but yeah,
Here's hoping, because yeah, this is definitely going to make the whole process very irritating.
yeah, very irritating. But here's what I did. I actually said this the other day. I was like, because I'm going to flip this round. I'm going to do what's silver lining. I actually think I want to see more of this from Eco Dynamics. I want to see more interaction with the community. I want to see more stuff like this. I would go so far as it would be cool if they did a livery competition or something like that, or a patch design competition for people who don't know that don't know the model viewer and don't know how to make liveries, because it's quite a complicated process to create a livery. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's quite a tricky thing, and you would open up a competition potentially to what much wider people if you said like, here's a template design. Do you know they've talked about the Apache like patches, haven't they, potentially down
Yes.
the line or something? Like, what if they said like, design one, obviously it would be fictional, but design one based around this template, and the one that
Hmm.
wins, the one we love the most, we'll put in the game. Or design, they create like a 2D, do you know what I mean, like a plan, and then you can draw on or whatever in Photoshop or whatever.
Yeah. And in
Yeah,
fact, that's actually kind of the limit of what I've done with liveries and DCS
mm,
myself. Like, in the VAF, we have like kind of template liveries for each of the squadrons, and I've
mm,
like, changed the name on the canopy rail and changed a patch on the tail. So I've edited
mm.
liveries before, but not like I've not made one from scratch.
Yeah. And most people are not going to know how to do it. So I always think if you want to like open it up a bit more and get more interaction, do something where like, because I remember World of Warships and those games, they used to do these like camo contests and
Yeah.
stuff. And so they would be like, and they would give you like a template. It was literally like a PDF or whatever, and it was like line work. And they were like, whoever designs it, and even kids could do it. But like, they would design something, and then the best one of their artists would go away and recreate it and put it into the game. So something like that would be really, really cool. I
Mhm.
like the fact that ED at least try and from my perspective, it was such a shame because it caused this furore. And to put myself at least in like a little bit in Eagle Dynamics shoes, they're like, yeah, let's do a cool competition, and immediately, immediately,
Let's do a fun
everyone's
thing that will
screaming.
make everyone happy. No one was happy.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. So I've got a little bit of sympathy, and I'm like, I'm always of the belief of like, you attract bees with honey and not vinegar, and I
Mhm.
would like there to be more. I know some people hate ED, and I know some people are just ED will never do right, and they're annoyed at them, and I get it. But I think like, I like to be a bit more pragmatic and a bit more positive, and I'd like to see some more stuff like this. I think this is really cool.
They-
It'd be
they-
cool if you had. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say that this is actually one of many livery competitions that they have done. So
Mm.
this has been going on for a while now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Someone's just said in chat, Pedro Sura, well, how about
Yeah,
a mod competition support modders? 100% agree. I mean, the
yeah.
one thing I've been screaming about, and you know about it, is they need to make a mod manager, an official mod manager.
Hmm.
I think that would be brilliant. But like, yeah, like a bit like a Blue Peter thing. Like, literally do some cool stuff that gets people involved, which doesn't have a high bar of entry. It could even be cool stuff like, do you know we've got maps and like little Easter eggs? Like, there's like I don't know, like a shop. If you win the award, you do a competition or something for the best, I don't know, screenshot. Like
Hmm.
your name gets put into like, I don't know, if there's a Pizza Hut, it will have like your name, like Deep Hacks Pizzas or something. Something like that would be really cool because so you could fly to. You'd always know in the game if you fly to this town, there's a little like Pizza Hut thing with your name on it. Just stuff like that, dude. It's awesome. It's
There's
really
a bunch of
cool.
that stuff on the Nevada map. If you look at the names of businesses and so on, there's a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
fun
yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Mm.
But yes,
So
yes,
anyway, yeah, yeah.
we have this livery competition, and they're also talking about the instant action generator,
That's
which will
cool.
be replacing the instant action missions soon.
Mm.
Yeah, on the livery competition, we've got three prizes. You can get 100 DCS ED miles, plus a free module, plus a livery added to the module. Second place gets 50 DCS ED miles and a livery added to the module, and third place gets 25 DCS ED miles and a livery added to the module. Not going to read out all the how to participate and how it's going to be judged and all that kind of stuff, but you can read this yourselves. But this will be very, very cool, and I recommend all you arty types, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, John Bluer,
Go
should
on.
put something together and enter. No, you refuse.
No, no. I was like, oh, me? What you saying?
Yes.
What am I doing?
Well, you're an arty fellow, so
I am an arty fellow. Yeah, I should
yeah.
probably do something. Yeah, I feel like the only issue with this is that, like I said, I'm not fully versed on the whole DCS textures and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been flirting and threatening with which are not a good combination to use, flirting and threatening. With
Threateningly
doing
flirting.
I've been threateningly flirting.
Uh huh.
That's on my Tinder bio.
You'd be a lot
Um,
prettier if you smiled.
Wanna breed? Tempting, but no. If you know what that's from, good bonus points. But yeah, I've been flirtingly threatening or threateningly flirting with doing some DCS liveries, but I just never got around to it.
Hmm,
You know, it's always the way. It looks cool though. As a guy on Twitch, he's really good called Irish Fatty. He's a really nice bloke, and he does streams and he shows people how he does it, and
it's a
he's
great
very
name.
good. Yeah, it's a great name, isn't it?
Blue Preacher
Yeah,
competition. Yes, you have to do it
yeah, yeah.
live. Um,
Yeah.
and then we got
Generation game.
we got the instant action generator. We got some development progress on this. We're
Mhm.
pleased to share the latest developments on our instant action generator, a new tool that will replace instant action. The IAG will give players a quick and easy way to jump into the action without the complexities of creating missions using the powerful yet complex mission editor. The IAG will offer customizable scenarios, air to air, ground attack, bomber escort, and attack, anti ship, suppression of enemy air defenses, and more with just a few clicks. Existing instant action missions will be moved to missions. Recent efforts have focused on sorting aircraft by historical eras, improving the AI logic for different skill levels, and allowing players to fine tune everything from loadouts to spawn points from an interactive map. The goal is to provide newcomers with an intuitive and powerful tool to create simple missions and veteran players with the means to experiment with different matchups, weapons, and scenarios. Please note that the IAG is designed to create fast and simple scenarios, not large, complex missions. Other enhancements include carrier operations, manual selection of allied and enemy units, and dynamic weather and time of day settings. As a result, the generator delivers a fast but flexible environment where testing a new module, practicing before a multiplayer match, or simply enjoying a casual dogfight is more accessible than ever. We will continue refining the IAG to ensure it remains a valuable tool for pilots of all skill levels. Stay tuned for more options. Yeah, because currently the instant action missions that come with a module are literally just missions. It's just the
Yeah.
module maker has created these simple scenarios.
Mm.
They're not automatically generated.
Mm. This is really cool. I think this is really cool. If I was ED, I would I'd get some content creators, your growling sidewinders and those dudes, and I would chuck in at them and tell them to come up with some cool stuff and record
Mhm.
some cool features. Because whilst obviously the old Wags videos are great, we always love them. Hearing that, hey everyone, Wags here. I mean that's literally ASMR in a nutshell.
Indeed.
Um, I think using the content creators to show off, because obviously like Growling Sidewinder does his like usually 2 circle BFM kind of stuff,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
um
Those
and
are
he does
great.
it.
Those are really good to
Mm,
watch.
Although sometimes it's like F-22 versus Sopwith Camel or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it'd be cool to do that, and then I'd get some of the other big names to do some stuff. Just give them, whether you give them early access or something like that, but give them some stuff, get them to create some stuff to kind of help push it. And because I think the problem is that there's definitely been some bits of tech that's come out, and even I, who am willing to do a deep dive, will go, "Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Like, I didn't know you could do this with it. I didn't know you could do that." And so I think, especially something they've obviously put so much time into, like instant action generator,
Yeah.
it's such a powerful, potentially a powerful tool that you want to give a fair chuck, don't you? You want to give it a fair kind of punt to see what it can do. So yeah, that's I hope that's what they do is they give it a proper showcase, because yeah, it just lets people jump into it. And this also, it's very bare bones, obviously, but this is quite a cool thing for people to start, or a foot in the door, so to speak, for some basic mission editor stuff as well.
Mhm.
So if they want to kind of start figuring that out, because that's pretty intimidating, isn't it? If you think about it, getting
Oh
into
yeah, yeah.
mission editor and stuff. So
Especially you start getting the scripting and triggers and all the kind of fun stuff it can do.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
I've been using it for a while, and I can make kind of fairly decent stuff, but I probably still don't know all the features of that thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So to have that, and then also, like I said, the instant action generator, at the very least, it will just get people used to being in that. I suppose it's kind of tied to the mission generator editor to a degree,
Mhm.
just getting used to operating in that. What would be cool is if it exports, if you can create a mission, generate it, export it as a MIS file, and
Mm.
then you could then go in with the mission editor and kind of fiddle around with it if you really like what it's created. That would be a cool feature. Hopefully, it can do that.
I would suspect so because
Mm,
the thing is, like, the actual simulation engine consumes MIS files. So
mm,
whatever things like dynamic campaign or IAG are going to do, the
mm.
output is pretty much going to have to be a MIS file, I would think, unless they're totally re-architecting how the simulation works, and I doubt they are.
No, 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 exactly. I think you're bang on there. Absolutely bang on.
Yeah, Seanam81 calling out he uses external briefing room to make simple missions. I have never heard of this,
Very
but
cool.
we should check that out at some point.
Hmm.
So yeah, this looks really cool. I'm very happy to see this kind of coming along nicely, and definitely will play around with that when it comes out.
Hmm.
And then we have Hammy and Friends, the Skills Challenge. The event features 3 high stakes challenges. First, prove your nerves of steel in the carrier landing challenge by landing on a moving deck with a 40-knot wind. Crikey. Next, trade laser guided precision for good old fashioned dumb bombs in the bomb lofting challenge. The question is whether you can still strike near the target from half a mile away. Finally, push your limits in the canyon race, navigating twisting gorges at breakneck speed. Every dollar donated during these 3 days goes directly to K9s for Warriors, so you can fly, compete, and give back to those who've served. Join their Discord server now.
Oh, yeah, that's
Now.
cool.
Come on, do it now. um,
Good on Arnie.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Darth Pirate .Ms combination tool question mark. I've never heard of such a thing. I don't think you can combine, like, at least not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
John Brown, I like Briefing Room, works really well, and missions can then be edited in DCS. They
Yeah.
could literally ask Longshot and GS to create the type of missions they have put out in their videos. They're way better
Mm,
than what comes with the game.
mm.
Oh, and we've got
Yeah.
Fade Rotha. Oh, yeah,
Hey.
this is
Yeah.
Hammy. Okay.
Oh,
Hello,
so
Hammy.
no, I think what he's saying is this is Hammy. So I know who this is now. This is just literally just clicked. So Hammy is good mates with Casmo. And
Okay.
so I just realized it's the same guy. It must be the same guy,
Oh,
surely.
okay, okay. Uh-huh.
Unless it's someone else. But yeah, so yeah, there's a dude who flies a lot with Casmo and those guys. So maybe they've put together some sort of fun, fun, like you said, this fun little thing. We're doing bomb lofting and landing on characters and stuff. Yeah, it's cool.
Sounds like a
Oh,
larf.
DCS War Thunder Hammy. Yeah, 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 yeah. Cool. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I was just reading chat. Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah.
Alrighty. So on to the next thing. We have this comes both via yourself, John Bloor, but also I decided to grab the Stormbirds article on it.
Oh yeah.
Rasbam CEO Ron Zambrano comments on the ongoing Eagle Dynamics dispute. Now, don't get too excited, kids, because
Mm.
this is a little bit of a nothing burger. But
Yeah.
he made this post on the Rasbam Discord community. I think the first and the last paragraphs are probably worth me repeating. I'll not read the whole thing out.
Yeah.
But he addresses his loyal community.
Mm.
First and foremost, we're sorry. We tried relentlessly. You've been our champions from day one. Your enthusiasm, trust, and support have helped our small team grow into something we never imagined. You didn't just buy our modules, you believed in us, and for that we're deeply grateful. But there's something we need to say clearly. While you've continued to support our work, we haven't received a single dime of that support in well over a year. You deserve to know that. So they then talk about, spending many, many months being in discussions with Eagle Dynamics in order to resolve this. We should say, just to cover the other side of this, Eagle Dynamics accuse Rasbam of effectively breaking contract, although we don't know for certain what it is they did to break contract, but apparently Rasbam were naughty, and Rasbam accuse Eagle Dynamics of withholding payment unfairly. Who knows where the truth lies, but I believe it's in court right now. So anyway, basically at the bottom, they say, they can't continue to support their modules because they don't have any money. Until then, know this, we're still here, we still care, and we're still fighting to protect what we built with you. Thank you for standing with us through this. We're users just like you. We feel this deeply. Loyally yours. And actually, it's worth mentioning, we continue to work towards a resolution. We still hope this is just a pause, a rough chapter before we fly again with you in DCS and beyond. Which I find this is kind of interesting. I think a lot of people, when they first saw this statement, they probably considered it to be kind of negative and kind of, like, oh, woe is us and this is the end and blah, blah, blah. But this sentence here, the way I read this is that he intends to return to developing for DCS, which is not what my assumption was
No.
for the last X number of months. I'd assumed that Rasbam were kind of like, okay, we're done, goodbye. If this ever gets resolved, we'll maybe finish the F-15, and that's kind of it. Whereas he's suggesting here, we fly again with you in DCS and beyond. So obviously we're reading between the lines here and all of this is open to interpretation, but it sounds to me like he kind of intends to continue doing DCS stuff if this gets fixed.
So this is my interpretation of this, because it's very boilerplate
Yes.
and it doesn't say anything that
We didn't already know.
literally we didn't already know and wasn't pretty much said a year ago.
Yeah.
So then you have to go the old adage, and I'm going to attribute this to the good old wiz, you know, what do you call it? Fountain of wisdom, Judge Judy.
Yes.
Love a bit of Judge Judy. And Judge Judy says, if it doesn't make sense, it's probably not true.
Yeah.
So it's I'm reading this, and I don't mean this isn't true what you're saying, but it's weird that it doesn't make sense that you would put this out there and talk about this. So what does it mean then? And people are just going, oh, that's weird. What are they saying now? We've already known this. I think it's something to do with the legal process. I think that this is a statement they have to put out as part of a case. It's hard to explain, but like you have to have things. Weirdly enough, even though this is a public statement, I don't think this is for us. I think this is for lawyers, and I don't know the full details of it. I'm only speculating, but I think this is something more to do with the legal process than it is actually to do with addressing us.
Mm-hmm.
We sort of are. Sometimes, like, you have to have certain things happen to set like a precedent for your case. And again, I'm not a legal expert. I'm sure there's someone who's going to come in and go, actually, adjust their fedora and throw tomatoes at me. But this reeks of that to me. This is a very strange thing to put out there. Like you said, when we already know. So I think that maybe there's been an instruction from a lawyer, or this is part of some process, some machination, to do that. And I picked up on exactly the same thing as you did, is that it's very strange that, like, why have like something so obvious, and then to finish it off on that note, that because everything's in there would be right now, everything he's putting in there would have been checked by a lawyer. Everything. There's no way you're going to risk it unless, well, I'd say that. I say that.
I don't feel like every statement he's ever made in the past has been very carefully checked by a
No,
lawyer.
I just caught myself there. I was like, you know what? Probably not. But if you were clever, you would. If you were smart, you would.
Yeah.
So let's just assume that we're gonna extend the olive branch. We're gonna gift him some grace that this has been checked by a lawyer. Why would, and even then, why would you put that in there?
Yeah.
Why would you put that in there? Because really all you're opening yourself up to is for people to get annoyed at you because you raise false hope or something like that. So there must be a reason why they put that in there. So I don't know. I think this is some sort of, there's some kind of maneuvering going on here with this statement. It's just such a strange statement. And why now?
Yeah.
Very
I'm
weird.
honestly kind of baffled. Like I can't even fathom the reasoning. There's obviously a reason, and something's going on in the background, and I can't even begin to guess what it would be. I don't know what he's doing or why. We've got interesting story asking about they aren't sporting their modules now, question mark. And that's true. They've said, I think it must have been a good 6 months ago now, they already said, look, we have no ability to support any of our modules anymore. And even their website changed to put like a big statement on it saying, like, we don't support the DCS modules. You got to go to, I think they worded it like your retailer or something like that, which obviously is Eagle Dynamics in this case. So I don't think it's necessary for him to have stated again, we're not currently sporting our modules. It's like, well, we already knew you weren't sporting them. Mostly because you can't, because all your developers have left. I don't know how they would support them. But in any case, we then got a statement from Eagle Dynamics. This actually comes from 9line on the forums. He says, this is hardly what is happening. The only thing we are not doing is making public statements as it is. Once again, a legal matter to be dealt with in the appropriate way. I'm not sure if we made a similar statement to what was made today that it would help anything. We still aim to resolve as we have from the start. So this all makes perfect sense. And actually Stormbirds mentions the timing, as you did, John. The timing on the statement is a year on from when this all went public. So it can be seen as a kind of status check-in.
Yeah, and some people just said in chat now, maybe it's just to kind of remind everyone. It's just another kind of like, we're still here, kind of, you know what I mean, thing. Not a less what's the word? A less generous way to say is to stoke the fire, and a more generative way, or generous way, just to say that they're just kind of going, we're still here, this is still on, this is still happening, kind of thing. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, it's pure speculation what I'm coming out with. I'm probably completely wrong. Just like I'll be completely wrong with the Eurofighter coming out later this year. But I'm willing to speculate and consider that kind of thing. It just seems of such a strange, like you said, such a strange comment to say now.
Yeah, it's kind of coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's weird. It's been a real roller coaster, this, isn't it? 1 minute he's like, I've got access to the tools again, and the next minute he's like, we still haven't been paid, and then next minute you hear him go, well, we'll redo the Mirage, and then he's like, no, I've not got access anymore. You're like, I can't keep up with this. Just shut up.
I can't even remember the name of the character, but in the Fast show they had the kind of old drunken lawyer who would sit in his armchair and he would like say one thing and then start mumbling and then say something totally different. I don't know if you remember this character.
Oh yeah, didn't he used to educate? And I was very drunk. Yeah.
Very drunk. So maybe Ron is just very drunk.
Yeah, he's very drunk. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I hope this all gets sorted out. I hope that both Eagle Dynamics and Rasbam are satisfied with the end result, and we all get to do some more flying in the F-15. So, I hope it all goes well, basically.
Say what you want about either party, but there are some very, very talented people in both, and they have both put out some very, very good products. So,
yes.
The best scenario is both sides come out of this, amicably to a degree, They're
Yeah.
never going to be best friends again, but maybe we can see the kids once at the weekend, and and one of them gets the car, the other one gets the house, and all that kind of situation. Yeah.
I have terrible images now in my head of Ron wearing like a slightly stained wife beater and you know holding a can of Stella. But anyway,
What, like Raspy Nesbit?
yes, pretty much. I love
Ron Z
you.
Nesbit. Oh my god, that's a Photoshop there. Ron Z Nesbit.
Oh no. Okay, right. Well, for the non-British people, you're not going to have any clue what we're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Check out Rab C Nesbit. It was a Scottish comedy program, kind of in the
Yeah.
in the 90s, 80s and 90s, I guess. It was quite
80s,
some time ago.
90s, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
moving on, we have this little tidbit that you sent my way. This is from our boy Shinku, formerly of Polychop, who is the developer of the community Black Hawk mod. Simply saying that he had a busy week, and it looks like, based on this screenshot, he's implemented force feedback for the Black Hawk. And then we also got this one. We've got new flight model, AI gunners, new rotor blur, pilot models, updated cockpit geometry and lighting, suspension fix, other small fixes were found. Full list will be announced properly when it's all done. So it sounds like our boy's been busy since he left Polychop. People had been poking him for quite some time because say, "Oh, when's the Black Hawk going to get some stuff?" And apparently the answer is very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So the two things that I picked up on that was that obviously he's been very busy, and whilst he at least was working for Polyshop, people were poking him, and he was like, "Well, why would I work on something for free when I can work on something I'm going to get paid for?"
Yeah,
Which is hard. That's not in a cynical thing. That's just kind of makes sense. He's like, "Well, I've got a job. It's full time, and I'm busy working on this." So
Daddy
whether
needs a
he's
new
got a
pair of shoes.
yeah, exactly. And and he said, it's the other thing is it was like he can't use the SDK on the Black Hawk.
Yeah,
He's literally like legally cannot use it. So the tricky thing is it would be like getting a lovely set of power tools to build something, and then having to go back to an old chair that you'd made, and you have to use like sticks and slate and stone and all that sort of stuff. So literally going back to like caveman tools. And so I could understand why he's like probably thinking, oh god, I really don't want to have to do this, and you've got to find a way to work around it all and stuff. So for him to be able to do that's really cool. Also, the reason I thought this was relevant is because the Black Hawk is one of the I'd say it's at least in the sort of top 5, top 10 of mods for DCS, and it's used on a lot of, especially multiplayer servers. It's used on a lot of multiplayer
it's
servers.
very good. I like it, and as always, I am a big avionics fan, and it has a decent amount of avionics simulated, which is nice.
Yeah, and if anything, what this does is this shows, at least to someone like Eagle Dynamics, that it's a very popular aircraft. It's been used on a lot of servers, and I actually say to people, if you wanna, I'd be really curious to see what this new flight model's like, because there's a couple weird little things about it. The way it trims is very odd. I can't explain it. You just have to fly it. It doesn't. Do you know how when you trim out, you'll trim the aircraft, and then it's sort of whatever you've obviously put back to center again is the new trim. It does something a little bit weird in the Black Hawk mod, where like if you're not careful, you can keep trimming out, trimming out, and trimming out, and trimming out until you're kind of at the very end of the what do you call it,
Travel, I
of the
guess.
control. Yeah, and then it still weirdly flies not weird. If you try and do that, and then most other helicopters, it'll be really not unhappy, but it seems to be like okay with that, and that's the only way I can really describe it. But
Hmm.
I suspect that the idea was always that it was an iterative process, but then he got hired by Polychop, and and that was that. But it sounds like he's got a bit of spare time. I think AI gunners is really interesting.
Hmm.
How has he figured that out? Because that's definitely getting tricky, isn't it? How do you figure that bit out? You can fiddle around with a flight model probably without the SDK, but I'd be really curious to figure out how he's done it. The only thing I can think of is it the Loach has a little door gunner? The Loach mod, I think, has a dude with like an M60 machine gun. So whether he's been
Yeah.
chatting to those guys or something, and they've shared a bit of code or something, or he's just figured it out, that's really cool. So yeah, no, at the very least, it's a great free mod if you're looking to pick up something and learn helicopters. If you've just jumped into DCS, it's a very low risk way of doing it because it's free, and
Hmm.
it's pretty damn good. So yeah, really cool news, and for a very popular mod to get some support. Yeah. Speaking of that, we haven't spoke about the some funny April Fool stuff, but was it
Yeah.
the T-38 as well? The T-38 put some funny stuff out. But did you notice they actually showed off a fair amount of their cockpit?
Yeah, they did. They did. So
Yeah.
yeah, that video, like most of these April Fools videos, were really not worth watching. They're funny, but
Mm.
you know we're not going to learn anything. The T-38 one was an interesting one because it did actually reveal some stuff, so it's worth
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
And it is very, very well produced, and it is very funny.
Mm.
And they did show off a Cessna 152 at the end,
Mm.
which I assumed was just a joke. Like, oh,
Mm.
after the T-38, we're going to release a Cessna 152, and then they backed it up in on their Discord. So they do, it would seem, as best as I can tell, they do intend to release DCS Cessna 152
That's
later on.
brilliant.
Uh-huh.
That's absolutely brilliant because you could do some fact stuff with that, couldn't you? You could definitely do like forward air controller stuff with that. It'd be
I
great, a great aircraft for it.
I might be wrong, but I feel like at some point in the past, like I don't know, like Korean War or Vietnam War or
Mm.
something, the 152 was used as an AFAC. I
Yeah.
think,
Mm.
but I could be just making that up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I love how when they released it, by the way, spoiler alert, they released it and they made it look like the F-35 reveal, which was hilarious. They
Yes,
they
they
aped the
did.
F-35 reveal. It's brilliant.
They did, and they did the whole "and one more thing, which was
I was
pretty
like,
good.
that is great sense of humor. Whoever put that video together it's got a fantastic sense of humor.
Oh, here we go. Mr. Yeti, in fact, flies the 152. I've never
Mm,
flown a 152. I've flown a few 172s
mm,
with stall kits, which was a lot of fun. You can basically land and take off on a postage stamp with those things. It's a lot of fun.
that's awesome.
Welcome to stream, Eagle Wings. Interesting story. Will the 152 have pilot customization? Knees hitting the panel if the pilot's over 6 feet? Yeah, that's one issue. Just make a bird dog.
Mm,
Yes, the 152 is very, very space and weight constrained. I've never flown in one, but I believe if I was to fly in one, whoever I brought with me would have to be smaller and lighter than me. I don't think you can carry two of me in a 152 and actually still be able to take off.
oh no, God, yeah. Was the engine? Is it a hairdryer?
Well, I don't even know, but it's a very, very small, very kind of underpowered light aircraft.
Mm,
Although some of them are actually, bizarrely, some of them are actually used for aerobatics training. So it can be a very maneuverable aircraft, but yeah, you're very, very weight limited.
yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Good.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
I think that's just about everything that we have for this week.
Mm,
It was simultaneously a very news dense week and also not so news dense.
right.
I am intending, just to give a little kind of channel update, I am intending to do a video soon where I'm going to reevaluate the performance of DCS again, kind of with and without frame generation and with and without different settings, like I did. I think was it when 2.5 or 2.6 came out? I honestly can't even remember now. But a while back, I already did this comparison. I want to repeat it because I feel, and I may or may not be right, but I feel like there has been some performance improvements to DCS in the last year or so. So I want to see what those look like in raw data numbers. So we'll give that a little try.
Cool.
Yeah, the 152 Aero is aerobatic authorized. So yes, that's the one I'm thinking about. Maybe not the normal 152, but I know that people do aerobatics in some 152s, and that's pretty wild. That sounds like fun. Irish Pat 64, great show, guys. Thank you very much for your time. Well, before we go though, I am going to pimp the VAF as I often do. So let's go and do that quickly. John will disappear momentarily for reasons that I still don't understand. But the VAF, or the Virtual Air Force, is a virtual online squadron originally started by myself and Dot Chuckles oh so many years ago. We're generally flying on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at around about 8 p.m. UK time. We're in EU time zones. And we're currently running squadrons for the Harrier, the F-16, and the F-18. Everybody is very, very welcome. You should come join us. You'll see a Discord link in the show notes below. And we're always looking for more pilots, ATC, livery makers, mission makers, scripters, all kinds of peeps. And you're welcome to come join whether you fly with us or not. Johnny boy, come back, come back.
There I am.
Yes. So yeah, that's that VAF. Oh, Tog is with us. Salute. Yes. So yeah, that's basically everything that we have for this week. I'm gonna do the big shout out to Deepak's ground crew shortly. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and comment. And if you have the spare coin, then throw a coin to your Deepak and join Deepak's ground crew. I really appreciate those of you who are able to support me in creating these tutorial videos and running the DCS news. But we've also had our boy John Bloor with us. Go to twitch.tv/John Bloor and press the appropriate button. And I wonder if you want to take this opportunity to give us a wee update, Mr. Bloor.
Absolutely, yeah. So just recently I finished off some digital illustration for our boy Tricky Tricker. He has already updated a bunch of his socials. What's kind of cool as well is we've updated his in-game menus and loading screens and stuff, which is quite cool. So if he's streaming DCS, you kind of see the artwork popping up. I think also there's going to be some conversations about potentially some merchandise based upon that artwork. So that was cool. I was streaming that process, which was cool. And I've finished that up. I'm back to more of my regular scheduling of DCS itself. So I actually did a stream earlier today, and I was just doing some Apache stuff. Usually I do PVE stuff. Occasionally I jump on things like contention and kind of have a little bit of a laugh. But yeah, it's your mostly rotor ops. I keep also the Chad that is the Harrier, and I keep again, what is it? Threateningly flirting with getting into some fast jet stuff as well. So I need to do that eventually. But yeah, that's what we've been doing so far.
If you want my big shout out for one to learn, take the JF-17 Thunder.
Yeah, it's a good jet to learn as well, and it
It's
sounds really nice when it tells you things. It goes altitude. Yeah, it sounds really nice. Yeah. Overtune.
Missile.
I feel like
Yeah.
you want to go have a little kip, don't you? Like,
Yeah.
it's a missile coming in, but I want to have a nap.
Alrighty. So yeah, like I said before, you can, if you want to support the channel, you can click the join button below for a small monthly fee. Thank you very much to those of you who've already done so. Big shout out to Channel Right, JR Walker, Fishy's Canal, Mr. Yeti, SeanI'm81, John Bloor, Tea Kettle Barbecue, Whiskey Dale, Stuart McLean, Mangash, Exorcist, Frantic, Willow Wilson, Byron Farrow, Osprey, Snooblarin, Whoopaz, Laskin75, Interesting Story, Pink Floyd, Samantha, and Alice. Thank you all very, very much for your support. I salute you all. And that's basically all we have for this week. I've been Deepak. I normally post a new tutorial video about 6:30 p.m. every Saturday. I missed today, unfortunately. And that's always followed by the DCS news, which just happens to be this thing, what you're watching right now. Thank you all very much for watching. Fly safe, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ta.